You're scrolling through old forums at 2 a.m., half asleep, when a single sentence stops you cold. K. Mori wasn't born, they were built. No context, no proof, just a ghost of a claim buried in the digital graveyard. But what if it's true? What if everything we thought we knew about K. Mori is a carefully constructed lie? Strap in, we're tearing down the facade. You know the name, K. Mori. It's been whispered in art galleries, stamped on patents that changed industries, printed on plaques at hospitals and schools thanking an anonymous donor. On the surface, K. Mori was a ghost in plain sight. Famous, but nowhere. Seen, but never truly known. A reclusive artist whose haunting paintings sold for millions. Yet no one ever saw them pick up a brush. A genius inventor whose gadgets reshaped the world, filed under names that always seemed to evaporate. A philanthropist whose massive donations arrived with no return address. No fanfare, just a brief note. From K, they gave us just enough to seem human, to make us comfortable, to make us believe, like those rare interviews they granted, always from some shadowed room, their voice carefully modulated. They'd talk about humble beginnings, a childhood in a sleepy coastal town you've never heard of. They'd mention struggles, vague hardships overcome by sheer will. It felt relatable, right? The classic self-made myth. The genius rising from nothing. We ate it up. We wanted it to be true. Then there were the patents. Oh, the patents. Brilliant. World-changing ideas. Renewable energy breakthroughs. Medical devices bordering on science fiction. But look closer at the filing documents. The names never quite stuck. Sometimes it was K, M, or Ian. Other times, Dr. K. Morian. Or just initials. CAM, entities registered to shell companies in places where records dissolve like smoke. It was like watching someone build a monument out of fog. Solid 1 second, gone the next. And the public face? The necessary appearances? Like those charity galas. There'd be a photo, maybe one every few years. K. Mori, always slightly out of focus, standing at the edge of a crowd of glittering socialites. Always with that same polite, closed-lipped smile. Never laughing, never relaxed, just present, enough to prove they existed in flesh and blood, enough to silence the wilder rumors. See, we'd say, there they are, just a very, very private person. Eccentric, maybe, but real. But that's the thing about smoke screens. They shimmer, they distract, they look solid from a distance. Get close, try to touch it, and your hand passes right through. Start peeling back that glossy veneer they presented to the world, and the cracks don't just start to show, they gape. Take those humble beginnings. That sleepy coastal town, researchers and journalists trying to pin it down hit wall after wall. School records? A fire supposedly destroyed the entire archive the year after K. Mori graduated. Local newspapers? Odd gaps in the microfilm during the exact years K. Mori would have been a child there. Neighbors vaguely remembered a quiet family, but couldn't recall a single specific detail, not the parents' names, not the color of the house, not even the kid's face. It read less like a forgotten past and more like a first draft, a work of fiction hastily written and poorly researched, a placeholder for a story that never actually happened. Then there were the colleagues, the early ones, the people who supposedly worked alongside K. Mori in those first, scrappy years before the fame hit, the lab assistants, the studio mates, the partners on those first, shaky patents. What happened to them? That's where it gets chilly, because they vanished. Not dramatically, not in ways that made headlines. Just gone, faded out. One moved abroad to a remote village and stopped answering emails. Another changed their name completely, dropped off all professional registers, and lives off-grid. Another simply stopped. No social media, no public record updates, no trace beyond an old, disconnected phone number. Poof, like they were characters written out of a script once their scene was done. It wasn't just one or two, it was a pattern. Anyone who got close to K. Mori in those formative years, anyone who might have seen the scaffolding behind the emerging masterpiece, they quietly exited stage left. No messy lawsuits, no public falling outs, just silence, an erasure so smooth, so complete. It felt less like coincidence and more like policy, a cleanup operation, removing the witnesses to the construction site. Think about that. Not just a missing childhood, but missing people. People who should have been there, celebrating the rise, cashing in on the association, telling stories to biographers. Instead, Empty chairs, closed doors, a chilling quiet where there should have been noise and memory. And the philanthropy? It seemed noble, generous. Millions poured into worthy causes. But the anonymity, it wasn't just modesty. It was control, absolute control over the narrative. No press releases dictated by the recipient. No naming rights. No obligations. Just the money, appearing like magic. It bought silence. It bought goodwill. It bought a shield of unquestioning respect. Who digs into the secrets of the person who saved your children's hospital wing? The anonymity wasn't humility. It was the ultimate firewall. So, what are we left with? A brilliant artist who never shows their process. A revolutionary inventor whose legal identity shifts like sand. A generous donor who exists only as a signature on a check. A childhood with no proof. A past littered with the silent disappearances of anyone who might have known the truth. The interviews? Scripted. The patents? Hidden behind layers of obfuscation. The photos? Carefully staged glimpses. Designed to appease, not reveal. The charity? A transaction of silence. Piece by piece, the image of the reclusive genius. The eccentric benefactor. The self-made visionary, it crumbles. It wasn't a personality. It was a performance. A meticulously designed character playing a role on the world stage. Every smile in those gala photos, part of the costume. Every humble anecdote in those interviews, a line from the script. Every anonymous donation, a calculated move on the chessboard. The truth we have to face here, in the cold light of these contradictions, is stark. Mori's entire public identity wasn't just private. It was artificial. A smokescreen, thick, billowing smoke poured out to obscure something hidden behind it. Something they never, ever wanted us to see. Something far more complex, far more unsettling than the simple story of a brilliant loner we were sold, who builds a mask this elaborate, who goes to such extraordinary lengths to vanish their own past and silence anyone who might remember it. What kind of truth requires this level of fabrication just to exist among us? The cracks aren't just showing anymore. They're tearing the mask apart. And what's behind it? That's the real secret. That's the chills settling into your bones. Because the mask wasn't hiding a person. It was hiding a project. Most secrets stay buried, but sometimes the ground spits one back up. This one didn't come from a vault or a locked drawer. It came from a landfill, a mountain of trash behind what used to be the Viridian Bioresearch Facility. Demolished years ago. Forgotten. Just rubble and rotting things. A guy named Leo was poking through it one rainy Tuesday, looking for scrap metal, something to sell. His flashlight beam cut through the gloom, past broken pipes and moldy crates. And there it was, half buried in wet ash and twisted rebar. A notebook, thick, industrial green cover. Water had warped it. Something dark had seeped into the pages. It wasn't just dirty. It smelled sharp, like chemicals, like the inside of a hospital cleaner bottle left out in the sun. Wrong. Leo almost left it. Who wants a soggy notebook reeking of poison? But the cover, something caught his eye. Stamped in faded black ink. 2 words, Project Chimera. He wiped the muck off. Opened it. The pages crackled, brittle at the edges. The handwriting inside neat, but cold, precise, like a doctor writing a grocery list. Page after page of notes, dates, procedures, words that started making Leo's skin prickle. Words that didn't belong in any normal lab. Gene splicing protocols, neural implant calibration matrices, subject tolerance thresholds. It wasn't theoretical. It was a log, a record, of things done, to people. Leo flipped further. His stomach tightened. Sketches, not of machines, of modifications. Bone structures altered. Nerve clusters mapped with tiny, ink dots where wires might go. A spine drawn with extra connections, like adding ports to a computer. But this wasn't a computer. It was a human body, labeled asterisk subject gamma, 7. Then the subject logs, section after section, different codes, alpha, beta, gamma. Most entries ended the same way. Short, brutal notes. Subject terminated. Neural rejection. Cardiac failure during enhancement. Cognitive degradation irreversible. Failures. Dozens of them. Names reduced to codes. Lives reduced to crossed out lines. And then, Leo found it. Near the back. A section cleaner than the rest. Less smudged. The handwriting somehow sharper. Colder. Subject. Case status. Active phase. 2 neural consolidation. The entries for subject K were different. Obsessive. Detailed, not just about the body, about the mind. Subject K demonstrates accelerated cortical integration. Memory implantation successful. Motor skill adaptation exceeds predicted parameters. Agility enhancement stable. Pain response deliberately muted. Necessary for phase 3 viability. It read like a progress report for building something. Something advanced. Something designed. Not born. Not raised. Built. Leo's eyes dropped to the dates scribbled in the corner of each log. His breath hitched. Simple numbers. Month. Day. Year. He knew that year. He recognized it instantly. Because it was 7 years before K. Mori first appeared in any public record. Before the patents. Before the art. Before the name K. Mori meant anything to anyone. This notebook, this record of a child called Subject K, it existed in a time when K. Mori, the person the world knew, officially did not. The most recent entry for Subject K was short, just a few lines, but they froze Leo right there in the rain, trash shifting under his boots. Subject K shows alarming emotional detachment. Standard empathy simulations failing to elicit consistent response. Psychological profile remains hollow. Core identity assimilation incomplete. A pause, a space on the page. Then, the next line. Underlined twice. Proceed to phase 3, social integration. Social integration. Think about those words. Really think. Social means people. Society. Fitting in. Integration means putting something inside. Making it part of the whole. Phase 3 wasn't about fixing Subject K. It wasn't therapy. It wasn't care. It was the next stage of the project. The final step. Take this child, this hollow, emotionally detached, modified child, and plug them into the world, like installing a new part into a machine. See if it works. See if it blends in. See if it passes. This notebook wasn't just found evidence. It was a blueprint, a step-by-step guide, not to building a robot, to building a human, or something meant to look like one. Subject K wasn't sick. They weren't being treated. They were being prepared, readied for the world, trained, programmed to become someone or something. Who wrote this? The handwriting is steady, unemotional, recording pain thresholds and neural rejection like someone noting the weather. Who ordered phase 3, social integration, for a child showing alarming emotional detachment? Who saw that hollowness and decided the solution was to push the child deeper into pretending to be normal? To integrate? The notebook doesn't say why, not directly. It just lists the steps, the procedures, the cool, clinical observations of a child being turned into what? A spy? An infiltrator? A weapon wrapped in skin? It calls Subject K viable, successful, while noting the lack of empathy, the detachment, the hollowness. That's the chill that goes deeper than the landfill smell. This isn't a diary. It's not a confession. It's a manual, a record of creation. Subject K wasn't born into a family. They were processed in a lab. Their mind wasn't nurtured. It was calibrated. Their emotions weren't felt. They were simulated. And their entry into society? It wasn't a natural step. It was phase 3, a planned deployment. This water-stained, chemical-reeking notebook, found in the ruins, it's the first solid piece. The first undeniable crack in K. Mori's perfect, unknowable story. It proves K. Mori's past isn't just hidden. It's artificial, manufactured. It proves the whispers were right. Someone built K. Mori. Someone wrote the blueprint. And Subject K, that empty, detached child in the logs, was the raw material. The foundation, for the ghost in plain sight the world would one day know. The blueprint was real, and the building, it worked. Proof is one thing. A person, that's something else. A name, a voice, someone who says, I was there, I saw it. That's what we needed. And that's what came from the static. It happened late, 3 days after the world first heard about the landfill notebook. The story was buzzing, questions flying, theories wilder by the hour. And then a call, not to a newsroom, not to a big investigator, to a small-time blogger named Mara, known for digging into weird, forgotten things. Her phone rang, unknown number. She almost didn't answer. The voice on the other end, it was wrong. Mechanic, flat, like someone speaking through thick mud and old gears. No emotion, just words. Do not say my name. Do not react. Just listen. Mara froze. Hit record. My codename was Echo. I worked for them for 20 years. The voice paused. A faint crackle on the line, like a bad connection, or someone breathing very carefully. I worked in the clean room. The clean room. It sounds sterile, harmless, maybe where they polished lab equipment. This wasn't that. This was where they cleaned messes. Human messes, paper messes, memory messes. Echo's job? To erase, to make things disappear, permanently. If a test subject died, we burned the files, made it look like an accident far away, or like they never existed. If a scientist asked too many questions, we offered money, a lot of money, or we made them quiet, permanently quiet. If a project needed a fake history, we built it. Birth certificates, school records, photos. We wrote whole lives on paper, lives that never happened. They weren't janitors. They were ghost makers. They didn't clean floors. They cleaned time, scrubbed away anything inconvenient, anything that could connect the facility to the real world. Their tools weren't mops. They were fire, money, fear, forgery. Most projects, they were failures. Tragic, messy. They leaked. We cleaned them up, buried them deep. Another pause. Longer this time. The distorted voice seemed heavier. But Project Chimera, Subject K, they were different. They were the success. The one that worked. The one that walked out. K. Mori, the success. Hearing it like that, it's not triumphant. It's terrifying. Subject K wasn't freed. They broke free. They escaped. When Subject K got out, the panic was total. Echo's voice, even distorted, carried a flicker of remembered fear. Not just because they escaped, because they were functional, aware. They knew things, dangerous things. The facility went into overdrive. Not to find K. Not right away. Echo's next words were ice cold. Our orders were clear. Not find Subject K. The orders were erase Subject K's past. Make the truth unbelievable. Think about that. They weren't trying to cover up a crime scene. They were trying to cover up an entire person's origin. To make the very idea that K. Mori came from that place sound like a crazy fantasy. A conspiracy theory. Echo's clean room shifted into maximum gear. This was their biggest job. We hit the records first. Every trace of Subject K inside the facility, gone. Logs burned. Hard drives melted. Even the backup tapes dissolved. Then the outside. The town near the facility. We paid people. A lot. To forget. To say they never saw unusual kids. Never heard strange noises. We planted fake stories. Rumors about toxic waste. Made people scared to talk. The early years, when Subject K was first integrating, we found anyone who might have met them. Anyone who saw them before the public story began. We offered money, generous retirement packages, new identities far away, or we reminded them of consequences. Consequences. Echo didn't elaborate. She didn't need to. The silence on the line said enough. Some people took the money and vanished. Some met accidents. Some just stopped being findable. We built the mask. Echo said. That flat voice cutting through. The humble beginning story? We wrote it. The coastal town that doesn't quite add up? We planted the seeds. The gaps in the records? We made them. We created K. Mori, the public person, layer by layer, to hide what really was underneath. They didn't just erase K. Mori's past. They replaced it. They gave the world a neat, digestible story. A brilliant, reclusive, slightly odd genius. Someone private. Someone whose past was just boring. Unimportant. Nothing to see here. Certainly nothing involving labs and neural implants and children codenamed K. It worked. Echo admitted. A hint of something bitter in the distortion. People believed the story we sold. The eccentric artist. The secretive inventor. The generous ghost. It was easier. Cleaner. Safer for everyone. Safer for who? For the facility. For the people who ran Project Chimera. Safer to have K. Mori walking around as a mysterious billionaire than as an escaped lab experiment. Because if the truth got out, what else might come out? Mara sat there, recorder running, barely breathing. She had to ask, the question clawing at her throat. Why are you telling me this? Why now? After 20 years? A long, crackling silence. Then Echo's voice came back. Lower, faster, urgent. Because they found the notebook, the blueprint, the lie, it's cracking. People are looking, real looking. They won't stop this time. And because I'm tired. Tired of the ghosts. Tired of the silence. Another pause. Sharper. Mara heard a faint sound in the background. A click. A door closing. Echo's voice dropped to a harsh whisper. the distortion struggling to mask raw fear. Listen to me. You think it's over? That the facility is gone? Dust. The next words hit like a physical blow. They're still watching. Even now. Silence. Not just echo stopping. A dead, empty silence. The kind that swallows sound. Mara stared at her phone. The call hadn't dropped. The line was still open. But echo was gone. No goodbye. No click. Just gone. Like she'd never been there. They're still watching. Even now. Those words hang in the air long after the static fades. Echo risked everything. Called from the shadows. To confirm the worst. The clean room didn't just work in the past. Its shadow is still here. Who are they? The people who ran the facility? People who inherited its secrets? People protecting K. Mori's fabricated life? Or people protecting something else entirely? Something K. Mori became? Echo didn't just tell us how K. Mori's past was erased. She told us the erasure is ongoing. The clean room isn't just a memory. It's a warning. The past isn't safely buried. It's being guarded, watched, by someone who doesn't want the mask to fall. An echo. A voice from the shadows swallowed back by them. What happened when she hung up? Did she run? Did they find her? Or was she cleaned? Another inconvenient piece of history. Neatly erased. All we have is her voice. Distorted, terrified, and her final, chilling truth. The past isn't past. It's watching. Proof on paper. A voice on a phone. But some truths you need to see. You need to stand on the ground where the nightmare happened. To feel the silence. To smell the decay. We knew the name. Project Chimera. We knew the subject. K, but where? Where did they build the ghost? It wasn't on any map. Not officially. No shiny sign. No address. It hid in plain sight. Buried deep. Under the canopy of the Blackwood National Forest. Miles from the nearest town. Accessible only by crumbling service roads. Long swallowed by weeds and roots. Modern eyes found it. Eyes in the sky. Satellite images. Old and new. Compared. Patterns emerged. Shapes that didn't belong to nature. Geometric lines beneath the thick green blanket of trees. Rectangles. Circles. The footprint of something big. Something buried. Zooming in, the details chilled. A high fence. Rusted now. Almost invisible under decades of vines. Like nature trying to strangle it. Barbed wire. Sagging in brown. Guard towers. Skeletal. Crumbling. And at the center, low. Concrete structures. Bunkers. Almost entirely reclaimed by earth and forest. Like the land was trying to digest a poison. But the land remembers. Technology proved it. Thermal scans. Looking not for light, but for heat. Residual heat. Years, decades after the last human footstep. Most abandoned places go cold. Stone cold. Not this place. Patches of ground walls, they glowed faintly on the scans. Warm spots. 37.8 degrees Celsius. Human skin temperature. Lingering. Like a fever the earth couldn't break. Like the concrete itself absorbed the screams and still radiated them back out. Locals knew. The few who lived on the forest's edge. They didn't talk to outsiders. Not about that place. Too much fear. Too many bad memories. But whispers travel. They called it the nursery. A sick joke. A cruel name. Because nothing gentle grew there. Old Man Hemlock, who ran the failing gas station on Route 9, remembered the trucks. Late, he'd mutter, wiping a dirty rag over the counter. Always late. Midnight or after. Big, dark vans. No markings. They'd vanished down that old fire road. Never saw him come back out the same night. He'd look over his shoulder. Lights, too, from deep in the woods. Not normal lights. Pulsing, like something breathing. Slow, steady, always at midnight. Every night, like clockwork. Martha Claiborne, whose family owned land bordering Blackwood for generations, talked about the forest kids. Not kids who played in the woods. Kids who were the woods. You'd see them sometimes. She'd say, voice low, dawn or dusk, just standing at the tree line, watching the road, pale, too still, never smiling, never running, just watching. She'd shiver, and they never aged. Martha, year after year, same faces, same empty eyes, like little ghosts trapped, stories piled up, hikers getting lost near the perimeter, hearing strange, high-pitched humming from underground, hunters finding dead animals, perfectly intact. No marks, just dead, as if something scared the life right out of them. The air feeling thick, heavy, Oppressive the closer you got. A silence so deep it rang in your ears. This wasn't a school. It wasn't an orphanage. It wasn't a hospital. The locals called it the nursery, but it was more like a workshop, a factory, a place where raw material went in, and something else came out, something refined. Kay Mori wasn't raised here. Raised implies care, nurturing, love. This place offered none of that. Think of it like forging steel or programming a machine. Subject K was processed here, refined, honed, their mind shaped, their body altered, their natural instincts suppressed, replaced. This was the assembly line. Phase 2, the neural consolidation, where they took the child codenamed K and prepared them. The pulsing lights at midnight, likely the hum of powerful, hidden generators, powering labs deep underground, running machines that mapped brains, that tested reflexes, that monitored vital signs while procedures were done. Procedures detailed in that water-stained notebook. The children who never aged, experiments gone wrong, failed subjects kept alive for observation, or perhaps something worse, subjects caught in a state of arrested development. Frozen, not by time, but by design, by the cold logic of Project Chimera. The residual heat, the energy of suffering imprinted on the stone, the phantom warmth of countless terrified heartbeats, the land screaming silently. It's impossible to know, but it's real, measurable, a scar that refuses to heal. This compound, this nursery, this hidden wound in the forest, it's the birthplace of the mask. This is where Kay Mori, the subject, was transformed, not into a person, but into a tool, a sophisticated, biological instrument. The thermal scans show heat. The locals saw children who didn't age. The satellites see the bones of a secret. Put it together. The isolation, perfect for hiding screams. The high security, to keep subjects in. And the world out. The pulsing power, running machines that shouldn't exist. The watchers at the tree line, subjects observing the world they were being programmed to enter. Learning by watching, Kay Mori walked out of this place, not as a child escaping a bad home, but as a finished product, graduating from phase 2, ready for phase 3, social integration, ready to vanish into the world, to become the ghost in plain sight. What walked out of the nursery wasn't fully human. Not anymore. The notebook said it. Echo confirmed it. The lingering heat proves it. It was something sculpted, engineered, something designed to blend in and observe, to mimic humanity perfectly, to move among us, to watch, to learn, to report, to control. We still don't know the final objective, but we know the factory. We see the blueprint in the ruins. We feel the echo of the nightmare in the warm, silent stones. The nursery is empty now, on the surface, crumbling, swallowed by green, but its legacy walks the world. Polite, brilliant, generous, watching, always watching. The forest tried to bury it, but some secrets they refused to stay buried. They just change shape and walk out the front gate. We've dug up the past. We've heard the whispers. We've seen the ruins. But the hardest question remains. Why? Why build Kay Mori? Why erase their past? Why go to such terrifying lengths? The answer changes everything. This isn't a story about a person. It's about a weapon. Project Chimera wasn't trying to make a better human. It wasn't about curing diseases or enhancing intelligence for the good of humanity. Look at the notebook. Look at Echo's words. Look at the cold, hidden compound. The goal was colder, sharper, to create the perfect infiltrator. Think about what that means. An infiltrator slips in unseen, blends perfectly, gathers information, influences events, gets the job done, and vanishes. No trace, no blame, just results. That's what Project Chimera wanted. A living tool, a ghost that could walk through walls of security, social circles, governments, anything, undetectable. How do you build that? You start with the basics outlined in that chemical-stained notebook. Mimic empathy, not feel it. Fake it, perfectly. To read a room, to say the right comforting word, to mirror a smile or a tear, to make anyone trust you. Subject K's alarming emotional detachment wasn't a flaw to fix. It was the foundation, a blank slate. No messy real feelings to get in the way of the performance. Manipulate systems, not just computers. Any system, financial markets, government databases, corporate hierarchies, security protocols. Inventing those world-changing gadgets wasn't about progress. It was about understanding how to break things, how to bend rules, how to find the hidden levers of power and pull them. Quietly. Leave no trace. This is key. The perfect ghost doesn't leave footprints. Kay Mori's reclusiveness, their aliases, their anonymous donations, it wasn't just privacy. It was operational security, making sure nothing could be traced back. No connections, no history, just fog. Now look at Kay Mori's public life through that lens. Suddenly, the mask isn't just hiding a past, it's hiding a mission. The art. Those haunting paintings that sold for millions? What were they? Really? Abstract shapes, strange symbols, layered textures. Echo hinted at encrypted messages. What if the art wasn't for expression? What if it was a communication channel? Blueprints hidden in brushstrokes, instructions coded in color patterns. A way for Kay Mori or their handlers to send and receive information right under the world's nose. Displayed in galleries. Who looks for secrets in a masterpiece hanging on a wall? The inventions, the patents that changed industries, renewable energy grids, advanced medical scanners, invisible data networks, tools for a better world, or tools for control. Imagine a device that can scan a city and identify every person, track every movement. Imagine an energy grid that could be switched off in a specific neighborhood or country with a single command. Imagine a network that can't be seen, can't be hacked, because it doesn't officially exist. Kay Mori didn't just invent gadgets. They built the infrastructure for a shadow war. Weapons disguised as progress. The charity, the massive donations. Hospitals, schools, research grants. Always anonymous, always generous. It bought silence. Yes, but Echo pointed to something darker. What if it was also a recruitment tool? A screening system? Philanthropy lets you access records. You fund a children's hospital? You might see files on rare genetic conditions. You fund a university? You get access to brilliant young minds. You fund disaster relief? You see populations under stress. Perfect places to look for new test subjects. Vulnerable people. Forgotten people. People who wouldn't be easily missed. Kay Mori's charity wasn't kindness. It was hunting. Every piece fits. The reclusiveness? Staying hidden to operate. The aliases? Multiple identities for different missions. The emotionless interviews? Maintaining the persona. The vanished colleagues? Removing loose ends. The fabricated childhood? Erasing any origin that could lead back to the project. It wasn't random. It was calculated. Every smile. Every donation. Every patent filed. It wasn't Kay Mori living a life. It was Kay Mori performing a function. Like a clock ticking. Precise. Cold. The Notebook's Phase 3, social integration, that wasn't the end goal. That was just deployment, inserting the weapon into the world, letting it blend, letting it learn, letting it work. And it worked brilliantly. Kay Mori became respected, admired, untouchable, a ghost with perfect access, moving through the highest levels of money, science, and art, seeing everything, touching everything, influencing everything, all while the world saw only the mask, the eccentric genius, the generous phantom. But here's the terror that keeps you awake. The ultimate secret isn't just what Kay Mori was made for. It's the unanswered questions that scream in the silence. Who are they infiltrating for? Who gave the orders? Who was pulling the trigger of? This human weapon? Was it the original facility? A government? A corporation? Something else entirely? The Notebook doesn't say. Echo didn't know, or wouldn't say. The target remains a shadow. Did Kay Mori break free? Or were they let loose? Echo said they escaped, causing panic. But what if that was part of the plan? A deep cover agent, truly independent? Or did the facility lose control of its own creation? The difference is life or death. And the most chilling question of all, the one that turns your blood cold. Was Kay Mori the only one? Project Chimera had many subjects. Alpha, Beta, Gamma, dozens. Most failed, terminated. But what if, just what if, Subject K wasn't the only success? What if others slipped through? Other hollow children, refined in other nurseries, deployed into other corners of the world, living other carefully constructed lives? Other ghosts walking among us right now, watching, blending, waiting. We don't know. We can't know. That's the true horror. The blueprint worked. The factory produced its weapon. The clean room erased the evidence. And the weapon, it's out there. Somewhere. Maybe retired. Maybe active. Maybe multiplied. Kay Mori showed us the perfect mask. The perfect infiltration. The perfect silence. How many others wear that same mask? How many other smiles are performances? How many other brilliant minds are building tools for a war we can't see? The ultimate secret isn't locked in the past. It's walking beside you. It's watching from the screen. It's hidden behind a masterpiece. It's woven into the fabric of the world. Project Chimera didn't just build a weapon. It proved the weapon could exist. And once something is proven possible, it's almost impossible to believe it only happened once. Look around you. Really look. At the brilliant stranger, the quiet neighbor, the generous donor, the reclusive genius. How well do you really know them? How well can you ever know? The most terrifying part? We still don't know if Kay Mori was the only one, or if they're still out there, watching us right now. We started digging for the truth about Kay Mori. We found pieces, a notebook, a voice, a ruin, a purpose. We thought we were uncovering a secret, but the deeper we go, the less solid the ground feels. Records vanish. Poof. Gone. Files that existed yesterday are empty drawers today. Digital trails? Wiped clean, like ghosts passing through walls. Every time we get close to a name, a date, a connection, it slips away. Not by accident. It's erased. Carefully. Thoroughly. The clean room is still working. Scrubbing. Polishing the lie. Sources? They disappear. Not like echo. Quieter. A researcher stops answering emails. A journalist takes sudden leave. A local who promised to talk changes their mind. Their eyes dart. Their voice gets tight. Fear is a powerful silencer. The deeper we dig, the quieter it gets. The silence itself is loud. It screams, stop looking. Even this story, the one you're hearing right now, it feels fragile, like a thread pulled from a much larger tapestry. A tapestry woven with lies. Kay Mori's past is just one thread, one hidden pattern in a vast, dark fabric. Pull this thread, and what else unravels? What other hidden pictures might we see? What other ghosts are woven in? That's the true weight of Kay Mori's past. It's not just chilling. It's a warning, a flashing red light in the dark. Kay Mori showed us it's possible. To build a person, to erase a past, to plant a ghost among the living, to make it watch, to make it work, and to make the world believe it's real. So the question isn't just about Kay Mori anymore. It's bigger, scarier. Look around, at the world we live in. How many other geniuses seem to appear out of nowhere? Brilliant minds with pasts just a little too vague, childhoods just a little too perfectly unremarkable, like Kay Mori's coastal town that doesn't quite add up. How many artists create work that feels alien, beautiful, but unsettling, like it's speaking a language we don't quite understand, like Kay Mori's haunting, possibly coded paintings? How many visionaries push technology that changes everything, who move unseen through the highest levels, who control vast resources with quiet anonymity, like Kay Mori, the inventor, the ghost donor? How many of them are real, truly real, born, raised, shaped by love and loss and messy human experience? And how many are masks, carefully constructed identities, manufactured histories hiding something else, something refined, something designed, like Subject K walking out of the nursery? Kay Mori proved the blueprint works. The factory can run. The clean room can erase. How many other factories are there? How many other clean rooms? How many other projects, not called Chimera? Project Griffin? Project Wraith? Projects we haven't found the notebook for yet? How deep does the rabbit hole really go? Is it just Kay Mori? Or is Kay Mori just the one we stumbled upon? The one crack in a vast, hidden wall? What's behind that wall? A single weapon? An army of ghosts? A secret war fought in boardrooms and galleries and server farms? A war we don't even know is happening? This is the trapdoor. The one Kay Mori's story forces open beneath our feet. It's the sudden, sickening lurch in your stomach when you realize reality isn't as solid as it looks. The past can be rewritten. People can be fabricated. Truth can be buried so deep, it might as well be fiction. The ground we stand on, it might just be a stage, and we might not be the only actors. Kay Mori isn't just a secret from the past. They are proof. Proof that the rules can be broken, that the impossible is possible, that the monsters aren't always under the bed. Sometimes they get honorary degrees. Sometimes they donate to charity. Sometimes they hang their blueprints in museums and call it art. So what do? Give up? Stop digging? Pretend we never found the notebook? Never heard Echo's terrified whisper? Never saw the lingering heat in the forest ruins? Pretend the mask is real? No, the warning isn't to hide. It's to look. Really look. Not just at K. Mori, at everything. Look around you, right now, at the people you know, the people you admire, the people who shape the world. How well do you know their story? Does it add up? Or are there gaps? Convenient disappearances? Unexplained brilliance? A strange lack of roots? Question everything. Not with paranoia, but with clear eyes. Don't just accept the surface story. Ask why. Why the anonymity? Why the secrecy? Why the vague past? Why the sudden influence? Be curious. Be skeptical. Be awake. Because sometimes, the most dangerous secrets aren't buried in the past. They're not locked in vaults or hidden in forests. They're not confined to history books. Sometimes, the most dangerous secrets are standing right next to you, smiling politely, shaking hands, donating millions, inventing the future, blending in perfectly. They look human. They sound human. They move among us. They are among us. Because the factory worked. The blueprint was real. And the trapdoor K. Mori opened. It's still open. Waiting. Leading down into the dark. How many others have walked through it? How many are walking through it right now? We found K. Mori's secret. But the bigger secret? The terrifying secret? It's this. We don't know who else is wearing the mask. We don't know how deep the lie goes. We don't know if the person next to you is really a person at all. The truth about K. Mori didn't set us free. It showed us the lock on the cage we didn't even know we were in. And the key is suspicion. Look around you. Question everything. The trapdoor is real. And it's underfoot. If this sent a shiver down your spine, you're not alone. Hit like if you believe the truth is out there. Subscribe for more deep dives into the unsettling unknowns. And in the comments, tell me, what's the one clue you'd chase to uncover K. Mori's past? Stay curious. Stay skeptical. And remember, some doors, once opened, can't be closed.